I'll go here. All right, here we go. Ooh, I am the very incarnation. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. This is where we ended last week. Here we go. That's crazy. Is his evil spirit drawing the souls of the fallen warriors to him? What a hideous sight. The spirits are crying out in pain. It feels like I'm reliving that day all over. What is going on? Spit everywhere. It feels like I'm reliving that day all over again. All right. See you. I think it's about time you show us what that day is. What is that day? What is that day? Please. Please. I beg of you. All right. The battle between the family leaders, Pobedal Gaston's Memory Fragments 3. It feels like we're going back. It feels like we're going back. Feels like we're going back. All right. A few minutes earlier, the battlefield outside the arena. It did too, but I was trying to not to look at it, but I was like, it's hard to miss that character, right? I don't care, no matter how many times they put this on the screen. Just the design of this ship is creepy to me. I don't know why. It just is creepy. I see it and it it's very creepy. This is the closest that we've been up on it, though. Now that I think about it, this is the closest that we've been up on it. Is that the Enterprise? Greetings, Commander Hugo. Hey. What's she doing here? I thought she was demoted and sent to a small remote town before the war began. Beats me. They must have brought her back to help with the war. She may be a little eccentric, but she certainly knows what she's doing in battle. She got an outfit change. I just realized she got an outfit change. What are you doing? I never gave you permission to enter. I may be guilty of coming in here without your permission, but a man who attacks his own allies without permission is in no position to criticize me either. Head Librarian Michelle. Where is it, Michelle? It's Michelle, right? I'm trying to assess this man's outfit. He's not shirtless, is he? Shades are all right. Got some Oakley's action going on. Hugo. Where's that? Oh, yeah. Hugo. The last time I remember her was her wasn't it her pleading to fight again with the last time I remember her. Damn, it's been so long. Was whenever she lost the Robodon, right? And then it was like they were bickering back and forth, like after their fight, after he one-shot her basically. That's the last time I remember her. Okay. Let me continue. You have some nerve showing your face here after that humiliating defeat. You didn't even complete the mission that Lord Gaston assigned to you. Give me a close-up of this man's fit. I'm trying to see if he's clean. That's true. It was a bittersweet defeat. But like salmon swimming against the current, here I am, back on the battlefield. I was so indifferent to Hugo. And then you get the fight with Robodon. And for me, right? And for me, it ended up making me like Hugo to the point where I'm like, I don't want Hugo to die. And I thought Robodon was going to kill her. And then she doesn't die. Now she's here. And now it's like, ah! It's like, we get her back. Okay. That's true. It was a bittersweet defeat. But like salmon swimming against the current, here I am, back on the battlefield. Other than Dumas, yes, you're not wrong. I've returned. Full split in the air? You gonna kick the hell out of them? What's happening? To clear the family of musty old cobwebs like you. Okay. He's retreating back. His fit it's seemingly very basic. I've always wondered what it would be like to fight a head librarian. Is this really the best you can do? Running around and dodging my attacks like a coward? Hugo, head librarians are the incarnation of the family leader's writing. Do you realize what it means to brandish your needle at me? And I'm liking the fit. Okay. Oh, of course. It means I'm defying the family leader. I know very well this is treason against the family. That's for trauma, right? I'm not gonna lie to you. I bought it. It was off of a what's his face, an Instagram ad. This is the worst thing to be doing right now. I saw it off an Instagram ad, but I bought it so long ago. I was waiting for it to get cold to wear it, and today was like the second really cold day. I'll find it later. I'll find it and matter of fact, I'll DM it to you. Oh, found it. I don't know how to look for this in IG though. This is panties. What kind of code? Okay. I typed in the name of the hoodie and got some. Sorry. I found it, but I'll send it to you. All right. So here we go. So if Hugo's saying she isn't a head librarian, I guess that makes her an actual blood descendant of Gaston. That is true. So does Tiara was a head librarian? What was Tiara then? Okay, I know very well this is treason against the family. But I can't simply stand back and watch as the family's troops are slaughtered before my very eyes because of your incompetence. I'm morally obliged to kill you. That's such a cool panel. Okay. Otherwise, how could I possibly be worthy of the designer items I wear? Okay, Hugo. Okay, Hugo. And if I were such a coward, how could I live up to Lord Gaston's luxurious expectations? I like this panel a lot. Bullshit. What the hell do you people know about Lord Gaston? You know something, Hugo? Take the shades off, bro. You've always been a cocky, presumptuous prick. What? Not even I know Lord Gaston's exact intentions, of course. But at least I know that I act in accordance with his wishes. Because I'm the warped side of Lord Gaston's writing. The warped side. Okay. Okay. This guy, his design is pretty alright. Design's pretty alright. I'm liking it. You're being warped has nothing to do with his writing. But don't worry, I'll straighten you right out. Such arrogance. Twist her. Oh, snap. Stop it. Time out. Time out. Relax. Relax. Huh? Oh my goodness. No, who just said that? They're hitting, yeah, they hitting JoJo poses for real. This whole world is warped and twisted. Don't you agree, Hugo? Speak for yourself. You only think that way because your view of everything is so warped. It's disgraceful that a freak like you came from the mind of someone as upright as Lord Gaston. No. You're the one who's warped. You fail to see what's staring you in the face. What? See those people over there? The ones who suddenly decided to meddle in this war? I like this panel too. I like the colors that's going on right now. Do you know where they came from? First sighting of revolution in how long? The very place where our father and the other family leaders tried to hide and bury their shame. The garbage dump that does nothing for me. That's where they're from. They're the maggots born and raised on the dung heap, created by the 10 great family leaders. Lord Blossom killed them all. Whoa. Okay. She went on a rampage and wiped out an entire nation that boasted of the most impressive civilization in the tower. Not a single living creature there was spared her wrath, nor were there any survivors. Oh my gosh. How are we going to cover this up? Family leader or not, we can't simply overlook this. She went too far this time. She needs to be severely punished. You're not going easy on her just because she's your wife, are you? He in fact was. Well, hurry up and make a decision. This is why we keep telling you that great power requires stronger control mechanisms, Gaston. You're not like those other self-centered family leaders. You need to do something about her right now. Just look at what's happened. All that power has finally gone to her head and turned her into a spoiled child. I knew this would happen from the moment she began strutting around like a bloody administrator. No, Gaston. Shut your mouth. That's right, the family leaders need more restraints. The times have changed. We can't let such potentially disastrous power go unchecked any longer. You ignorant, foolish vermin. You look tired, Gaston. Traumer, have you left your battleship? I heard about what happened. Given the nature of the situation, I thought it'd be better I thought I'd better come and see if you need any help. Why don't we take a little walk? I want to hear what Traumer has to say. Because from everything that we've heard up to this point about Traumer, anytime they got into any one of these situations, Traumer was the one that took it the hardest and then tried the next time so that nothing like that ever happened again. So for a situation like this where Blossom, for whatever reason, destroyed an entire civilization, seemingly an entire advanced civilization, I want to know like what Trom's thought process would be on that. Like what would he think, and would he have, did he agree? Did he push Gaston in the direction of not correcting her? Did he? Let me shut up. I'm very curious. Let me start from back up here. I heard about what happened. Given the nature of the situation, I want a different song. The most impressive civilization, yeah. That I heard about what happened. Given the nature of the situation, I thought I'd better come and see if you need any help. Why don't we take a little walk? They're a real nuisance, aren't they? They claim to want to help us, and yet they keep demanding more and more from us. They seem to have forgotten how small and insignificant they really are. You ought to just completely ignore them like I do. They look so majestic. Easier said than done. I want future generations of lower creatures to remember us as honorable, glorious beings. So they're already too far gone. That's right. You've always wanted to maintain a perfect image of us in written history and records, Gaston. You said that would be the best way to ensure that they respect us for ages to come and to bring stability to the tower. But personally, I just don't see how that's possible. Especially if the records of us are based only on actual facts. Over time, they'll keep demanding more from us. I doubt anyone could ever really satisfy that hunger of theirs. This is striking parallels to Haracha. It's Haracha that was like the breadwinner for the area that he came from. And they kind of just wanted more and more and more and more until everything just collapsed, right? I want to say it's Haracha. How Traumare is explaining this reminds me of them, where he became like their sole breadwinner and they just wanted more and more and more, like he became their god. Very similar. No, one of his Haracha, right? One of his underling, one of his what's his faces, where the area he came from. Yeah, Haracha. Yeah. Where did I leave off? I doubt anyone could ever really satisfy that hunger of theirs. They sit around criticizing us for not aiming higher or not being more perfect. Jihad and I both refuse to lower ourselves to their level and listen to their demands. Instead, we've decided to climb so high that we can't even hear them anymore. The only thing we can do is fly as high as possible and distance ourselves from them, Gaston. What do you mean by this? Because at this point, oh my goodness, it's hard to say where we're at in time this is. Or they're not climbing anymore because they're called family leaders. So by climbing higher, like, is this Traumare just saying like we're just rising above them? He's been saying it like Jihad and I aren't staying on their level. We're not being around them. We're not listening to them anymore. We're just going to distance ourselves. So now, I'm trying to place this in time. This would be after the wars, you would say. So this is different from what the Trailblazers did that we learned about from the previous flashback that we got. Like the Trailblazers went off and even Amizu couldn't agree with everything that was going on. So that this is a completely different situation than that. I'm just wondering, because we have a lot of situations where something massive happened. This would have to be after that. Think about it. Gaston is calling them creatures here. So you're right. This would be way further along. Yeah, this would be way further along. Gotcha. Okay, continuing. The only thing we can do is fly as high as possible and distance ourselves from them, Gaston. But you intend to punish Blossom, don't you? since you can't seem to say no to them. You're incapable of breaking your own rules, and you probably resent and despise yourself for that. The real you inside you is telling you to throw away all those silly restrictions and rules and help Blossom instead. It makes no sense to punish your beloved Blossom just because of a bunch of nobodies who will never understand us. That's crazy. We have no information to work off of to know why Blossom did what she did. How these individuals that are talking to Gaston was explaining it was the power got to her head and she just did whatever she wanted to, seemingly, and just killed these people just because. Like, we don't know what provoked her to do that, or if anything provoked her, and she just did it. But she wiped out an entire civilization. That's nothing to sneeze at, bro. like that's nothing to like just ignore like it didn't happen. That's warped. Warped is an understatement. It makes no sense to punish your beloved Blossom just because of a bunch of nobodies who will never understand us. Can I suggest a solution, Gaston? What? There is a way to bring back those creatures that died and to reverse Blossom's mistake. You won't need to break any of your rules, and we can maintain our perfect image. We took Trom's advice and we raised them from the dead? What? I'll help you, Gaston. This is the solution that Tromare proposed. According to the sorcerers that I consulted, the spirits and bodies of the dead beings had probably dissipated into the Shinsu on that floor. And despite the sheer amount of Shinsu there, it likely wouldn't have completely absorbed them all yet, especially in the case of humans. In other words, there were likely still traces of their spirits and bodies left within the Shinsu. Okay. Tromare was sure that if he used his Shinsu black hole spear to summon their spirits and bodies, he could revive them as immortal beings. Why the hell would we want to do that? Why would we want to do that? Although they could only survive within the Shinsu black hole sphere, with the blessing of immortality from the 10 great family leaders, they might be reborn as transcendent beings. What's the point of this? Am I understanding this correctly? Like, hold on. Upon seeing them resurrected as immortal warriors, even those who now complain about the family leaders would be silenced. Because what they really wanted wasn't consolation for the dead, but rather suspicion and restriction on our powers. I'm timing out for a second. I should keep reading, but I'm going to time out for a second. So, Blossom kills a ton of people. They die, they go back to the Shinsu, but they're not fully absorbed yet. Gaston, wanting to find a way around punishing his wife, has Tromare suggest, I'll use my Shinsu black hole sphere. We know we know at this point he's already been tampering with necromancy and bringing back the dead. So this is where I get a little confuzzled. We slaughtered these people for whatever reason. This is what I'm trying to understand. Why it does like this, like off rip. Granted, I'm not the one racked with grief and racked with the conflict, the confliction of my wife doing these things and being pressed by all these other individuals. So from my point of view, for whatever reason, Blossom killed them. Right? Blossom killed them. So we want to bring them back as immortal beings, but the catch is that they can only, this is where I'm stuck. They only could survive in the Shinsu black hole sphere. So what's the point of them bringing them back if they only can live inside of Trom's Shinsu black hole sphere? Am I missing that? Like, this is what I'm, like, I'm trying to think, like, from Gastong's perspective, why the hell would that even, like, I'm like, okay, so do they just go back to where they live? Blossom killed them. Are we going to bring them back with their memories? Because if they do, and they're now immortal, what the hell is going on? Why would we want that? This just seems like an issue that's going to go on forever. Like, from Trom's point of view, Trom's just manipulating, marionetting. 1000%. I'm not even hung up on Trom. Trom's a piece of shit. I'm not even hung up on him. He's going to do what he's doing. I'm thinking this from another perspective, like, we're that desperate. I know things are that dire, but that we can't see through this? And I guess because Trom's his best friend, damn near. So he wouldn't see, oh my goodness. This doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems like there's way too many things where it's just like, and then what? That's what I'm saying. And then what? Like, okay, we're going to bring them back, but they can't live outside his Shinsu black hole sphere. They can't live outside his Shinwan Ryu. So my first question would be like, so what the hell is why are we bringing them back? Oh, by the way, they're going to be immortal. Why do we want to make them immortal? Like, why do we want to make them immortal? We as a group are responsible for killing all of them. Why would we want to bring them back immortal? I don't know if they're going to have their memories or not, but why would we do that? Even if we bring them back and they don't have their memories, what's to say that someone's not going to show up and be like, hey, yo, those people right there, they did some crazy stuff that killed you. Da, 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 da. Like, come on. We got to use just a little, but that's, I'm like, I preface it with, I'm not the one that's like racked with this conflict. Where it's because not only the conflict would be the fact that Blossom did this, and I'm trying to put this into like a perspective that would make sense. It would be, this is a weird scenario. Right, it's a weird scenario. I should keep going, but it's a weird scenario of, okay, us in here, right? We're a group, and I won't use like animals and whatnot because I think more of animals, but insects, right? A lot of people just step on insects, they kill insects, and they don't necessarily think of like insects being something that could like have a soul or something like that. They think of them as just bugs. They're just bugs. So there's this we see like these ants, right? And they've built like this complex, incredible, like column, like everything. It's something magnificent, something that we've never seen ants do before. And one of you guys in here is like, you know what? For whatever reason, insects are animals though, but a lot of people don't view case in point, if I were to say, okay, what do you care more about, a dog or an ant? You would probably care more about the dog. If you're an insect lover, maybe the ant. But you wouldn't think twice of an ant dying if you saw it. Like, if someone stepped on an ant, it wouldn't rip your heart out. But if you watch someone beat a dog to death, you would probably try to stop that person from doing that. So it's like, from that point, that's why I'm using insects. But it's like we watch this insect, they built this whole thing, all this stuff, and then someone has the bright idea, for whatever reason, that we might find out because I'm yapping. I'm going to go destroy that. They're ants. Who gives a damn about ants? And you go and destroy it. And then all the ant lovers and all the other people that are upset at us for whatever reason is like, you should do blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? they are ants. I really don't care. But I'm trying not to look bad in front of these people. But I really don't want to punish you because I agree with you, kinda. And then my friend is like, hey, yo, you know what we could do, right? We could bring these ants back. And I'm like, tell me more. So then you start saying some stuff like, we could bring the ants back to life, but they're going to stay at my house, right? And I'm going to bring them back to life, put them in this tank, and they're going to be at my house, and they're going to be fine. They're never going to die again. And we could just show them that the ants is cool. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm trying to like make sense of it. I don't know. Let me continue. I'm just yapping. I'm sorry. Okay, let me continue. Oh my God. I'm gonna reread all this really quick because I want to pick the subject back up. Okay, I'm gonna start from right here. Sorry. According to the sources that I consulted, the spirits and bodies of the dead beings had probably dissipated into the Shinsu on that floor. And despite the sheer amount of Shinsu there, it likely wouldn't have completely absorbed them all yet, especially in the case of humans. Yes. All right. In other words, there were likely still traces of their spirits and bodies left within the Shinsu. Traumare was sure that if he used his Shinsu black hole sphere to summon their spirits and bodies, he could revive them as immortal beings. This section does not need to be this hype. He could revive them as immortal beings. Although they could only survive within the Shinsu black hole sphere, with the blessing of immortality from the 10 Great Family leaders, they might be reborn as transcendent beings. Upon seeing them resurrected as immortal warriors, even those who now complain about the family leaders would be silenced. Why would they be silenced if they're lobbying? These individuals are lobbying for you guys to have restrictions on your powers. So using your powers to then bring them back from the dead would not be a, okay, leave us alone now. That would be a, what the hell are y'all doing? Let me continue. Because what they really wanted wasn't consolation for the dead, but rather suspicion and restriction on our powers. Normally, I would have written off such an idea as nonsense. But at the time, I wanted to offer her some sort of hope, since she was crumbling under the weight of her own guilt. She spent so much time in her dreams that it took her much longer than us to process her emotions. All right, if you think you can do it, then go ahead and give it a shot. As a result, I did something I ended up regretting. Traumare quickly proceeded with the plan. But what we saw in that moment wasn't the honorable revival of fallen spirits glad to have returned to life. Rather, we witnessed the desperate wailing of spirits in agony. Enraged at having their rest disturbed. That was when I realized the truth. I had committed an irreversible sin. The dead cried out with the howling of wild beasts. Unable to maintain their human form, their bodies were twisted and distorted as they mixed with one another. Whatever they were, those certainly weren't the spirits of dead warriors who had returned with immortal power. Traumare realized that something had gone wrong, but he never stopped nor regretted what he had done. That's what I'm saying. I was about to pause. I read this bubble. I was about to pause. He didn't care. Knowing him and his personality, he didn't care. He probably wanted this to happen. It was as if he knew very well this would happen. What a shame, he said to himself. And then he simply vanished. How should I record this disaster? I tried writing and rewriting it again, but I just couldn't bring myself to record it. I would have rather broken my own hand than write down something so awful. And so, unable to overcome the pain and suffering, I chose to run away once more. At the time, I thought it was my first time running away from pain, but it was probably the second time. Or maybe I had already erased the memories of countless other times in the past. That's why I came to see someone who could tell me how to end this suffering. Ooh. Oh. Okay. It was the Uno's cloud smoke thing a reference to the past? What do you mean? Not Jihad having an iron throne, a golden throne. Jihad. I'm surprised to see you here, Gaston. I didn't think you wanted to have anything to do with me. Do you remember what you suggested to us before? The idea of creating a massive incinerator to get rid of every useless, unwanted thing in this tower. Of course. After we discovered that hidden... Whoa. Do you remember what you suggested to us? I don't know. What we about to get? You remember what you suggested to us before? The idea of creating a massive incinerator to get rid of every useless, unwanted thing in this tower. Of course, after we discovered that space hidden between the layers of the tower, I suggested that we dump anything that doesn't serve the tower in some way, in there. Mechanoids, sorcerers, fundamentalists, guides that suggest the wrong routes. We ought to lock up the space with a key that is impossible to find, and create a hellish place where all those inside stare up in despair at a ceiling illuminated by a red light of death that burns all the trash within. I called it the Red Dump Plan. What's the other translation for this? This name sucks. What's the other translation for this? This name is doo-doo. Garbage juice. There has to be a better name. Has to be. This garbage dumpster juice name. I need a better name. I called it the Red Dump Plan. And you were against the idea, Gaston. I was, but not anymore. I want to join you in that plan. But what I want to throw out isn't simply people or machines. It's history itself. Well, that's certainly good to hear. After that, we moved ahead quickly with the Red Garbage Dump Plan. From the spirits of dead creatures remaining in the tower, to mechanoids, ancient creatures, and sorcerers, all kinds of beings were pulled into the cracks in the tower, known as the Red Garbage Dump. The garbage dump even sucked in countless facts that I wanted to erase, and my desire to write an honorable history of the 10 great family leaders. Having reached the goal that deleting memories alone could never have achieved, I thought I could finally escape from my sin. Although I had no idea what Jihad was really trying to hide there. I have some thoughts. Then we created a key to open the space and hid it somewhere no one could. Then we created a key to open the space and hid it somewhere no one could find or even think to look. Thus, we closed and locked the door to the past. That's a cold ass panel, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a cold panel, I'm not gonna lie to you. They just did some evil stuff, but it's cold. Is this our first glimpse at Yuden? And began a new era of our own. History restarted once more in the tower, and a second ancient age began. There were no clues anywhere about the memories we erased or the sins we committed in the past. Well, except in the book I had written. That's what I want to know. Why did I record what happened? As a sort of repentance for our sins? Because I wanted to believe I was different from the others? Because I still felt at least a slight sense of duty as an intellectual? I could sense at the time that my daughter would someday be tormented by Jihad? Could I sense, excuse me? Because I was just as guilty as Jihad anyway? The only thing I didn't record was the exact reason for my decision. Perhaps I wanted to punish my future self with ignorance. And that punishment ended up making a fool of me at the worst possible moment. Father, I know the truth now. And I can't stand to be around King Jihad anymore. Where is this coming from all of a sudden? I found out what the king threw away in the garbage dump. What? Garbage dump? What in the world do you mean? Do you really not know what I'm talking about, Father? No. I have no idea what the meaning of all. I have no idea. What's the meaning of all this? Father, you're the greatest intellectual in the tower, as well as the record keeper in charge of recording history. Are you saying you honestly don't know what King Jihad put in the garbage dump? Father, King Jihad trapped himself in there. What? Ignorance came back to haunt me as the worst punishment imaginable. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so hold on. So recapping, just running it back. So, well, not running it back. Jihad has had this. He had this idea for a while. He had this idea for a while. And Gaston did not agree. Now, what we don't know is if Jihad went ahead and threw stuff in there anyways before. But we know that time passed, all this stuff happened, and then Gaston was like, you know what? That plan you were talking about, for sure, I'm down with it. They all were in on this, bro. Or a good chunk of them were. A good chunk of them. They all were in on this. We seen Trauma and Gaston fully in face. We seen Yuden Ha. She looked just like Yuri. We see someone that's sleeveless. That's Ari Han. No, that has to be Ari Han. I would assume Jihad's there. Dog, they all were probably there. Because they all would have had stuff to discard of. They all would have had stuff to throw in there. They all would have stuff to throw in there. They all would. Jihad put himself in the garbage dump. Now, okay, so we know what Jihad looks like. We know that Wang Nan looks like him. We know that Boss looks like him. There's a bunch of individuals running around this tower that look like him. And up to this point, Wang Nan knows. We don't know what Wang Nan knows, but it's never been. I feel like it's never been hinted to us that he knows more than what's being let on, as far as like Jihad and stuff. There's a lot to go with him, right? It's a lot. There's a lot. Sleeveless could have been Enon. Is the red dump also the red light district? Good question. So side there, I thought, is Bomb's Cave one of these spaces between floors or whatever? Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. So my first thought when I hear Jihad put himself in the garbage dump is the memories, right? My first thought is like the memories, like how all of them have their different ways of getting rid of their memories. Trauma as Leviathan, Gaston writes his in a book, yada yada yada. Jihad could have put his inside of a copy of himself and then threw that in there. But even with saying that, all the instances of Jihad that we have seen in series so far knows way more than everybody else. So what memories are he really locking in there? First thought, splitting off parts of him like a song does. I don't know how much I like it since Gaston already does that. It could be that, right? I would be more accepting of that now that we've seen 3 or 4 family heads have the ability to use really strong fire now. So I'm more accepting of that. A part of me jumps to that monster, whatever is inside of Jihad. Part of me thinks that monster could be like some sort of parasite, and that parasite cut off the part of Jihad that was climbing, and put him inside of there, and kind of is Jihad now. That comes to mind. that comes to mind. Who's to say that jihad, that the jihad that entered this tower, is the same jihad that we end up with sitting on the throne? Besides, like, a warp in personality. I think the clones seem to be like the one we can lean on the most. The clones are what we can lean on the most. But backing this up, the descriptor used for this, the descriptor that I want to use for this, and we'll then psychoanalyze jihad through this. Where is it? So for jihad, think about this. I suggested that we dump anything that doesn't serve the tower in some way in there. Mechanoids, sorcerers, fundamentalists, guides that suggest the wrong routes. We ought to lock up the space with a key that's impossible to find, and create a hellish place where all those inside stare up in despair at a ceiling illuminated by a red light of death that burns all the trash within. Why would Jihad want this? Why does Jihad want that for himself? You know, like, that's like my first thought process. Why would he want a fate like this for himself, for a part of himself? What did that part of himself do? Or was all of this just a cover so that he could then discard of this version of himself in there? Like, yeah, this is what we're going to use it for, and then, by the way, sink that in there. Well, why? What would... That's... I don't know. That's what I want to know. I don't know. I don't think it's the red light district, because I don't see how Wong Nun and Kevin the Boss could have gone out. It could be different. I think red is just the theme because jihad. You know, red's his favorite color. Data J said the Fitbit was the key to defeating jihad. What if by using the Fitbit to unlock the dumpster place and finding the other jihads, potentially use them to defeat the current jihad? Bring back... Think of everything that's in there. Think about everything that's in there. Think about everything that's in there. Also, the Red Witches, the Red God Enryu. Jihad wanted to cut out some sort of weakness from himself. Wish we had more info, I know. Fundamentalists are people against jihad. Feel guilt to avoid fate. That's such a terrible name. You think it's the red light district? Especially since no, you're right. Hold on. Time out. You are right. Yeah, you're right. It actually could be the red light district. It actually could. And it's based on the beginning of the chapter with Michelle saying that. And but the crazy thing is he called it the same. He called it they come from a dump. And my first thought was, oh, he's just being metaphorical. Like, no, like, he's being legit. He knows. That's the thing. He knows. Like, he said they come from that dump. They come from that place. He knows. Could be that Jihad felt that part of himself, childlike, like Jihad, adventurous side. loving in case Ireland would hold him back from doing necessary decisions to rule the tower. I would agree with you, but at that point, they were already too far gone. That's why I'm like, they were too far gone. They were too far gone at that point. They're so far gone. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if it was earlier, then yeah, but this feels like I don't know. As I think it is the red light district. And who's to say that there actually isn't some sort of crazy civilization there? Just because it's been described to us as a garbage dump, think about how long ago that was. You have to think about how long ago it actually was that they did this. Eons ago. It was a long time ago. So there definitely could be some sort of civilization that's in this garbage dump. For sure. It's Meteor City, yeah. Yeah. Or on the contrary to the comment earlier, what if Jod put his evil side in there? Making him a good guy in his mind? I'm not even trying to process that. Because if he put his evil side in there, then... Dog. Dog. Yeah, this throws everything for a loop. So we know that they deleted their memories. But they deleted their memories and then took the deleted memories and threw them somewhere else. Imagine what this arc looks like if Gaston wasn't like this. The only way we get an arc like this is because Gaston wrote this stuff down. Otherwise, we have a bunch of clueless people that are just running around. We would have gotten none of this information. It's because Gaston decided to write everything down and he doesn't even know why he wrote it down that we even know. Now, that being said, Bomb has information from that book. So Bomb knows a lot of stuff. It doesn't seem like it's changed him much, but he knows a lot. He has access to it. He knows a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's so, I'm trying so, like, he has that book. And I would assume that book that Gaston went to retrieve is the book writing about the fact of, like, what he, this book. Isn't it, wouldn't it be this book? It would be this book, no? The book that he was going to get? It would have to be. It would have to be. It's such a cold panel. Panel cold as hell. Yeah, he had a Leviathan discussion. There's so much that Bomb knows. It's just, it doesn't seem like it's changed him much. He's still acting the same, but who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen when V awakens? What will happen when V awakens? Dog, this is such a cold panel, bro. This is such a cold panel. It makes sense for them to have put it in the hidden floor as well. The Fitbit. I'm not a fan of it, if I'm being honest. I'm not a fan of it. I think I like the discovery with the main character, but Bomb knows so much. At some point, I'm expecting him to tell us. I'm expecting him to find someone and then tell us the story. That's what I'm expecting now at this point. The more that we find out, it's just like, I'm expecting Bomb to start dropping some details. Nah, they're evil as hell. They really are. They really are. I'm pretty sure Bomb knows. Bomb knows more than us. If I'm taking this assumption crazy, you guys can stop me, and I'll stop. But all of this stuff happened, right? All of this stuff happened. Everything we're seeing with these memories, the flashbacks, all of this happened. They took everything. They took all of history, all the stuff that no one is supposed to know about, and threw it in the garbage dump, and it ceased to exist. And then after it's ceasing to exist, he wrote it down that he threw all this stuff in there to make it cease to exist. That's the thing. So after they did this, he wrote it down. And that's the book that Gaston was going for. Because in order for him to get anything else, he would have to go to that book to get that knowledge so that he could go here. That's why this is where I'm like, is like that. If that's the case, then Bomb would know all of this. Bomb seemingly would know what the purpose of the Fitbit is. Bomb would know at least. This is why I'm trying to understand, like, how much does he know? Because he absorbed that book. That's the thing. Wait a dang minute. If this is the red light district and Wangnan is part or fragment of Jihad, what if the end result of the story be that all fragments of Jihad unit to restore the true Jihad, and V unites with Bomb to have V reincarnated in a way, probably to fight in the final boss battle? It could be something like that. It could be. So our brain, there are, pretty sure he knows everything we're being shown. Yeah, he knows everything that we've been shown. Yeah, he knows everything that we've been shown. He has the book and he has Leviathan. Everything we see, he's already seen it. He knows, but that's the thing. He knows more than us. Because we don't know everything that's been in the book. He knows everything. He knows way more than us. He knows way more. But, okay, so, clarification. The key to 135. That key was broken up and split, right? And it was split into two different things. The 13 months and those rings. Correct? I always get this mixed up. The 13 months and the rings. We've come to know, or we've been believing so far for the vast majority of the series, that all of these Jihad clones have a ring. We know of 2 that have a ring, and they're Jihad clones. We've never seen Jihad with a ring. And I don't know if Boss or Captain has a ring, right? So we know that all the clones, the rings is probably Jihad's key, but all the clones, why, if we're, I don't know. What's the point? I don't know. Is there a chance? This is weird. Something I just thought of. I completely lost what I was talking about before. Remember it? He's definitely split the key into rings. And he gave them to clones. So why dunk on dump on one clone out of all the other clones? You get what I mean? Are we just beating up on the weak one? Like, why dump on one? I don't know. What if the family had thought Jihad split the key just through the 13 months? But he actually split half of the rings half into the rings without telling them, and his is in the dump. So Anne said that he hid himself inside dump one. So my assumption, why do all the clones get a ring, but then we threw one in the dump? That's what I mean by dump one. Like, why are we stepping on this one and throwing him into the dump? But there are other clones that are running around out here. But then this is where my brain went to in a split second. But then I stopped myself because I'm like, that don't make no sense because they all have one. Like, what if the part of himself that he put in the dump split again into all the different clones that we see? But then I'm like, how they all get a ring? You get what I mean? That's why I stopped and I just kind of shut up. Because Jihad put a part of himself inside the dump. But if Wang Nan and if Captain and all these individuals come from the red light district, come from this dump, could it have been, he's put himself in here multiple times? Was there one that she found out about and he actually put a bunch of himself in there? If he was going to put himself in the red light district, what was the point of giving them a ring? What's the point of giving them a ring if he was going to put them inside of the dump? That's what I want to know. Like, what's the point of putting them in there? And why do they all get a ring? Are all their rings legitimate? Like, is there one ring to rule them all? Like, what is it? Like, is there a real ring? Do all the rings come together and form a ring? The real ring? I don't know. They all must have been there at some point. This is where I'm like, I don't know. Hansun gave rings for tracker devices with Jihad get. That's not a bad idea either. What if he's tracking them through these rings? Tanaka hiding. I do think that's the case. Tanaka wants to keep his anonymity. How did Anne find out? She would have had to have been searching through his library and found that book. No, I'm trying to figure out. Why would she know? How would she know? Or would Jihad have kept something around the castle and she found out that way? Because she said, I don't want to be around him anymore. Like, I don't want to be around this guy no more. She found Arlen's pocket. No. But she would have had to have been curious about something to lead her to that. That's the thing. She would have had to have been like what Sephiroth was going through. Like what Sephiroth was going through, and he spent all that time down in the manor, researching until he went fucking crazy. Like, she would have had to have been driven to that, to the point where it's like, hey, like what would have driven her to the point of needing to find her pocket? That's like something would have had to have pushed her to be curious. That's the thing. Something would have had to have pushed her to be curious. It could. I don't see it as messing around one day and I found it. Right? I don't believe that. I believe something. She had to have been like, what? Like, this is weird. Either this dude is weird. What's going on is weird. I have questions and no one can answer. Because what Gaston says is there were no clues anywhere about the memories we erased or the sins we committed in the past. Well, except in the book I had written. So judging by her reaction, I think she would be way more judgmental if she found it out from one of his books. If she was in his library reading his books, I think her reaction of what do you mean? She have to know. She would have to be like a stronger reaction than what we saw. Right? A stronger reaction than this right here. It would have to be a stronger reaction, in my opinion. in my opinion, it would be a stronger reaction. Her reaction more so, someone said it earlier, was more so of a, Dad, you're the historian of the tower. What do you mean you don't know this? That it's one of those things. She had to, I don't think, because why would Arlen know? That's why I'm like, she found Arlen's pocket after this conversation. That's what I'm thinking. She found Arlen's pocket after this conversation. Because Arlen, would Arlen know about this? She wouldn't know about the red light district, the red garbage dump. Would she know about that? I don't think so. Who knows what she would know? Let's say that. Who knows what she would know? I'm assuming she wouldn't know. I don't think she would have been around by now. She would have been either scrambling to get out of the tower or have found her way out of the tower by then. I don't know. But Anne's reaction more so was you're the historian of the tower. I've clearly found something that seems real to me. Like, she probably is like, dog, you were included in this? Everybody was included in this? I'm not understanding what's happening, Dad. What's going on? And him, because he threw everything away, he don't know what she's talking about. So it's like, my goodness, this is crazy. 263, hold on. Let me pull that up. I think this event led her to getting Arlen's pocket. I think so too. Genesis Boss was running around telling people things about the future. By Genesis, Arlen and V were already legends in myth. Yeah. She probably found his book and she confronted Jihad, then found the pocket with all the evidence went berserk mode. I'm gonna have to pull up the Floor of Death to read like how Garam explained it.